Harry Miller, former police officer and founder of Fair Cop. Good morning, Harry. How are you?
Yeah, I'm fine. Utterly depressed by yesterday's news, of course. But other than that, yeah, very fine, very fine.
What I'd like to warn you is...
It's interesting listening to your last guest that I now realise that the reason that I put on so much weight over the last 10 years is because I'd had repeated dreams about curries and McDonald's. So at least that mystery is solved.
Hold on, trigger warning. He's upset.
Warning.
Sorry, you can't upset McDonald's or talk about women's boobs. We're trying to be politically correct this morning on the show because I don't know if you've read ITV... have issued a why is somebody sorry on the breakfast show by sorry, people just don't understand why there's a trigger warning from ITV about the an audience with Kenneth Williams, matron. So we're being very politically correct this morning. I mean, I want you to understand that. But Harry, good to have you on. We all seen and witnessed this story about Graham Linehan, the creator of Father Ted, arrested on Monday as he got off a plane from Arizona. 5 armed police officers with guns. Apparently, I don't know who sent him, but arrested him over his anti-trans tweets. I've been saying all morning, I'll say it to you, my friend. I'm not here to get involved in that debate. What I'm here to talk about is we seem to have, I mean, glaring two-tierism, for want of a better phrase. Whether I agree with Graham Linehan or not, whether I agree with Lucy Connolly or not, there seems to be one rule for one and one rule for the other. It seems to me that pop groups kneecap, that vile, what was he, Bob Vylan or whatever, can stand on stage at Glastonbury, which gets streamed on the BBC, talking about death to the IDF, and yet these people are not allowed to even write what they think. And it comes to something when our own Prime Minister has to come out and say, you know, the Met Police need to do more. Why doesn't he institute a new law which makes sure the bloody police do what the rest of this country want, which is arrest criminals, Harry?
No, I absolutely agree. Unfortunately, we've had repeated Home Secretaries, unfortunately Conservative Home Secretaries, who have not only turned a blind eye to this nonsense, but who have actively encouraged it. We've gone from having the greatest police force in the world to one that now looks almost like something that would occur in North Korea. In fact, I imagine that Putin would be embarrassed by this. What we've done, we've had a College of Policing who since 2012 have presided over a police force, bearing in mind they were set up in order to professionalise our police force. What they've done, they've turned them into a Mickey Mouse service with guns, where law is secondary to the policing of feelings and of political ideology.
Could not agree more. And you know, I lay this, and I'm not a Starmer fan. I hate the way that it's going, and I believe it needs a different leadership. But I start with the person who started to destroy the police, and that is one Theresa May. She was the person who started under the Tories to get rid of the policemen and women on the streets. And Blexley always tells me, and he's right, you arrest criminals by having people on the streets and getting intel. That's how you do it, by going into communities. Policing seems to have changed tact. It's all about computerisation. It's all about ideology. But I want to ask you this. You know, the founder of Fair Cop, that case yesterday, how are we in a society where there are sad gits who phone up the police and go, oh, well, look at Graham Lennon's tweets? Have we got an office somewhere underground, like, you know, the Teletubbies, where a bunch of Karens sit there and phone up and go, look at that tweet, and they go and arrest him? Or is this coming from further up? I don't understand where this stuff comes from, Harry.
I'll tell you exactly where it's coming from. There is a cabal of committed individuals led at the moment by a former trans police officer called Lindsay Watson. He seems to be the head of all this. It is his job, it is his life's mission to report everybody for everything all of the time. I myself was arrested in November by my own force, because I'd written in the Critic magazine that Lindsay Watson was a stalker and that my stalker was male. What's happened to Graham is precisely the same thing. Now, I don't know whether Lindsay Watson is directly responsible for this one, but this ex-copper is behind much of this. And unfortunately, they found willing co-conspirators in the police. When you send a bunch of armed police officers to arrest a man because he said, if all else fails, if you've called the police, if all else fails, give him a kick in the rocks, then we are absolutely broken as a British society. Let's just go back to that tweet. He said, if you find a trans person in a female place, the first thing you do is call the police. If that doesn't do, you kick up a fuss. If that doesn't work, then you kick him in the balls. What he's saying there is that the police have absolutely neglected in their number one task, which is to protect the people of Britain, and in particularly those who are vulnerable, and in particular women. That is their job. And what we're all saying is, when the police have picked a side, when the police will not turn up to protect women's spaces, when they will not turn up to protect the general public, then what else is there left? Well, I'll tell you what there is left. All there is left is to take the law into your own hands and set up protections for yourself. That's what Graham was saying. He was saying, if you kick up a fuss, if you call the police and still nothing happens, then kick him in the balls.
I'm a great believer in, and somebody said to me the other day, oh, hold on, we got breaking news. Rachel Thieves, Jesus, will present her budget on the 26th of November. Breaking news on Talk. 26th of November, put that down in your diary. We're all going to Dubai or Spain or anywhere, Iceland the next day, I imagine. Harry, I'm a great believer in a strong police force, and we can sit and we can debate where this comes from. But somebody sent me a message the other day, which I keep repeating and I will keep repeating, which said, Jez, when the silent majority finally realise their voice can be heard, the government, whatever its political persuasion, is in trouble. We can rant and rave and tell stories and talk about facts, but I believe that the British people have reached a seminal moment in their history, if you like. We've always been fair, we've always tried, we've always done the right thing. Right now, there seems to be a huge amount of unfairness in the United Kingdom aimed at the indigenous population. That is not racist, that is factual. We've always welcomed people. We do it again like we did it with Ukraine. But when you say to the British people, thanks for living your life correctly, paying your taxes, going to work, not breaking the law, not having a handout, these people are coming in, they're going to break the law, they're going to get a handout, criminals are going to be treated better than victims, you won't be able to do this and you won't be able to do that. All these commentators and broadcasters can jump up and down. The British people will find their voice. By that, I do not in any way mean or condone any civil disobedience, but I'm absolutely guaranteed that all politicians of all sides are going to have to wake up and realise we're not a docile bunch of, I don't know, we're not going to be led down any path now. I believe the British people have woken up, and that is for me the most important thing. There's a story I want to do with you. I mean, Jesus, I've had such fun these 4 days. What a story to do. Today in the newspaper, a Somalian asylum seeker, is this true? He wants our government to deport him to Somalia because he thinks it's safer than Nuneaton and they won't give him a ticket back. I give up. I'm going to self-combust, Harry. I'm done.
No, it's absolutely true. But, it can't be long, I think. You're absolutely right. I don't think it can be long before British people start lining up on the banks of Dover and start getting dinghies to go to France to seek asylum there. That is the state that we are in at the moment. And it's all right, the Home Secretary saying that she's put a Yorkshire tea flag alongside Union Jack on her shed, as though that is going to fix anything. The problem is the Home Secretary is so busy being a booking agent for illegal asylum seekers into five-star hotels that she has neglected her primary duty, which is to maintain the safety and the security of this country.
Sorry, is that the remit for the government? What, to protect and look after its own people? Surely it's not. It's to look after people who've never been here and never paid any tax, to look after people who have come from war-torn France, where they suffer persecution because the tent might leak.
That's because you are now demonstrating a colonial mindset, Jeremy. You are clearly a racist because the primary task of the Home Secretary, obviously, is to book illegal immigrants into five-star accommodation in the
Sorry, I got that wrong, Harry. I mean, how bad
it's an easy mistake to make, Jeremy, and we can forgive you on this occasion, but please do better in the future. This is where we are at. And you're absolutely right. We are not a people who are naturally inclined to revolution. We are not that people. We're not a people who are naturally inclined to flying the flags. We are quite secure as British people. We bring out our flags and our bunting when there's a jubilee, when the World Cup is on, for occasions like that. But as a rule, we are not flag wavers. Now, The reason that we are flag wavers at the moment is because our government and repeated governments have made us feel so insecure about being British. Not only that, they've made us feel unsafe. Not only that, they've made us feel ashamed of being British. They've put us at the very bottom of the pile and nowhere near the top of the pile. So, of course, the natural reaction there is to reach out, to grab hold of your identity, to wear it on your sleeve, to fly it from your roof, to put it on your chest, and to go out onto the streets and start marching. But make no mistake, the British people haven't changed. We are still a peaceable people, but we have been let down repeatedly by Home Secretaries, by Chief Constables, and by a political class who do not give a damn about white English people or people who are here lawfully.
You're my guest of the week, Harry. Stand by for a shift on drive time. Really appreciate you being on. Thank you very much indeed.